chicken biscuit, baby. God, I love when Paige says things like that. Thank you, Paige. All right, the memoir has touched readers' lives. The Glass Castle was on the New York Times bestseller list for more than 300 weeks, and now you can see the pages come to life in theaters.
So, your dad said he saw you pass by in a cab the other night. Acted like we weren't even there. You shouldn't be ashamed of us, just because we choose a different lifestyle than you.
Being homeless in New York City does not count as a lifestyle choice.
Well, if we heard from you more, you'd know that we found a lovely place on the Lower East Side.
I have a little bit of money now. I can help you if you want.
Jeannette Walls, author of The Glass Castle, joins me this morning, played by Brie Larson. Happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I have to know, when they came to you 10 years after your book was published saying, you know what, we want to make this a film, we want to share it with the world, what was your reaction?
Well, I was a little bit nervous that they wouldn't be able to capture the complicated, conflicted people who are my parents and my family. But I have to say, I think they did a spectacular job.
I'll have to completely agree with that. I had a chance to see it last week. And so I'm almost a little stressed talking to you this morning. Now, were you a part of the filmmaking process?
I was. From the very beginning, they were really interested in my input. I don't think I had any contractual control, but the director and each of the actors called me on a regular basis or emailed me and said, you know, I'm trying to get a little bit deeper into this, what was happening here. There were some minor liberties taken with the book, but the director always consulted with me. Brie Larson, we spent some time together where she was asking questions about my habits and why I felt certain things. She was phenomenal. She's got these laser eyes, and it's kind of weird being watched by her because she picks up on everything.
Oh, well, that's what makes her an Oscar winner, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, a little bit about the book. Of course, it's about your upbringing with your family, homeless, moving from town to town without daily essentials like plumbing, running water, and often food. But you'd say you had a pretty good childhood.
Throughout all that, there was hope and love. And the reason it's called the Glass Castle is Dad said all of this moving around and sleeping in cars, that was temporary, that one of the days he was going to build us a great big mansion. He called it the Glass Castle.
Speaking of your dad, Rex Walls, I'd say that you two were probably the closest. He called you Mountain Goat, which I thought was very, very sweet. He was charismatic, but you say he was a desperate alcoholic, which emotionally hurt the family.
You know, anybody who's lived with an addict knows how they can break your heart.
Absolutely.
And, you know, there's ups and downs, and you want to fix them, but you can't fix somebody who doesn't want to be fixed. But despite all that, he gave us such hopes and such dreams. And I'm hoping that this is what that movie will help people realize, like, you know, don't draw conclusions just because somebody's a wacky homeless person or alcoholic. We all have a story. We all have a humanity to us.
We're all human. That is the absolute truth. Woody Harrelson actually played your dad. I'm seeing a reaction now. Phenomenal job is what I think. How about you?
Gosh, it was spectacular. I knew he'd do a good job. When I was telling people about the casting, that Naomi Watts, oh, she's really good. Brie Larson, she's really good. And then you say Woody Harrelson, I like Woody. Everybody said that, and I think you needed somebody who was genuinely likable to play my no-count scoundrel of a dad, because despite everything he did, he was irresistible. But his performance was spectacular. It was off the charts.
How often did he remind you of your dad's actual...
Constantly. When I was on the set, I mean, I was trembling. I was crying because I love my dad despite all the awful things he did. And to see him brought back in such a profound way. And afterwards I said, how did you do that? How did you know all those things? He said, I studied the tapes, I talked to you, but I didn't want to mimic him. I wanted to become him. And he did.
Oh, that's Naomi Watts, Oscar nominee, played your mother, who was a prolific painter. But you'd say not so much as a mother, but despite your parents and the trouble that they had raising the children, did you always know you were going to have a better life one day?
They gave us hope, they gave us a sense of self-esteem and a love of education. And I believe if you get those things, you can get through just about anything. I never doubted that I was loved and valued.
Now, Jeannette, you mentioned earlier that you were crying when you saw Woody Harrelson. I know you were part of the filmmaking process. Which scene in particular was maybe more difficult for you to relive?
There's a scene where Ella Anderson, who plays me as a 10-year-old, is trying to get her father to stop drinking, and it ripped my heart out.
It did mine in the theaters as well. And, you know, it's constantly on the go. It sounds like the message here, the common denominator is hope.
There you go.
It's hope. But where would you identify as home?
Hope is a belief in yourself. It's just sort of like, I have the wherewithal to change my situation. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to complain. I have plenty to complain about, but you focus on the good. Life is a choice. Everything has both a blessing and a curse in it, and it's up to us which one we choose to focus on.
That is the truth. When I left, I thought I was reflecting on my blessings, reflecting on places I need to show more gratitude. If you had a chance to talk to your dad, I know that he passed in '94.
Yes.
One last thing to say to him, what would that be?
Thank you. Thank you. The gratitude. I just think despite all he didn't give me, he gave me hopes and dreams, and that's why I'm sitting right here today.
I am so happy to be sitting right here next to you, and we can thank Rex Walls for that and the entire family. Thank you for sharing your story with everyone.
Thank you.
And now we can all see it in theaters. The Glass Castle is in theaters Friday, August 11th. You can also log on to their website for more on the movie. It's theglasscastle.movie.